Let's review the life of Adoniram Judson and the beginnings of the modern missionary movement in 6 different sessions. Our first session would be a review of the context in which Judson was born and in which the modern mission movement began. And in that session we'll discuss internationally colonialism. We'll discuss local cultural events that were taking place. We will talk about a theological discussion that was going on between Calvinism and Arminianism. We'll talk about the French Enlightenment, and we will talk about Adoniram Judson being born into that mix, 1800 to 1812, as we begin our conversations about the modern missionary movement. Our second conversation about Adoniram Judson and the beginning of the modern mission movement will only cover a few years, like 1807 to 1813, but it will be some of the most exciting. It will be his entry into Brown University, his flirtation with deism, his conversion through the death of his roommate Jacob Imes. We'll enjoy his marriage to Anne Hasseltine, and the next day his commissioning to be a missionary. They arrive in India in 1812 only to be evicted, and eventually they will get to Burma in 1813. We'll call that the beginning of the modern mission movement. The third section, as we review the beginning of the modern missionary movement in the life of Adoniram Judson, will be those early beginnings and the firsts that happen in his ministry in Burma. The first printing press, the first missionary that we as American Baptists send to assist him, the first inquirer that comes to ask about Christianity, the first translation, the first publication, the first convert, the first baptism. What a glorious time that was. But also we'll encounter the first crises, the first deaths, the first disease that strike this band of young missionaries. From 1813 to about 1821, we'll cover the firsts as we begin the modern mission movement from America. Section 4 in our study of Adoniram Judson will be those years of crisis from about 1820 to about 1832. And that's when the most pain, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, would come to our pioneer missionaries in Burma. That's the time that Anne would have to come back to America to take care of her health. It's the time that the first Anglo-Burmese War would begin, and Adoniram Judson would be thrown into prison for nearly 2 years. The agonies that he suffered are such heartbreaking yet heroic stories. After his eventual release from prison to translate the necessary documents for the peace treaties, we think that maybe things are getting better, but no, Anne will die and his daughter Maria die. His first 3 children are now buried, his wife is now buried, and Judson goes into a deep, deep depression. We will study that and look at that carefully as we look at the 4th period of Judson's experience as our missionary and the beginning of the modern mission movement. Our 5th step in studying the life of Adoniram Judson and the beginning of the modern mission movement will focus on about 1832 to 1845. Those were years of success. Part of it was the Boardmans came and helped him, and the Karen people followed Jesus as if they had been anticipating the message of the gospel for centuries. We'll talk about his second marriage to Sarah. We'll talk about the strategies that the missionaries used. We'll talk about the missionaries that American Baptists sent and those very strong numbers from the reports that Dr. Judson sent in each year about folks that were being baptized. It's an exciting story of publication, printing the gospel, and people coming to know Jesus from 1832 to 1845 as we continue our conversations about the modern mission movement from America. Section number 6. You'll enjoy the summary and evaluation of Adoniram Judson's life. We'll take from 1846 to his passing in 1850. And there we will discuss his marriage with Emily Chubbuck. We will see that his assignment now moves to writing the dictionary, compiling the dictionary that is still used by every fourth grader in Burma even today. You'll see the analysis of his work in educational systems and schools. You will see how the numbers have grown throughout the Burman Baptist Church and how people are still being baptized, over 2 million Christians now because of the work of Adoniram Judson. The summary and evaluation of Judson's life makes us proud to be American Baptists and makes us proud of the fact that we still put missions as our #1 priority in our congregations. You'll enjoy this summary of the life and ministry of Adoniram Judson and the modern missionary movement.